maybe you just randomly from the algorithm clicked on this, but regardless, hello!
Let's begin, shall we?
Hi there. Hello. How are y'all doing today? Let's start off with our movie puzzle. If I'm on the right one. Alright, we got 10 minutes. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Alright, kind of a shorter name this week. Back to the Future Part 2. I don't know. Because it's not Christopher Lloyd, it's not Michael J. Fox. Tree of Life, so this should be Brad Pitt. It could be Sean Penn, though. Boo. The Incredible Hulk from 2008. We'll go with Liv Tyler. Trallion, hi, hello, welcome in. Hope you are having a good weekend. I appreciate you stopping by and for the lurk. So for 10 Things I Hate About You, I believe it is going to be Heath Ledger. Ooh, Black Hawk Down. Eric Bana. And Tinker's Tailor Soldier Spy. Think Tom Hardy? We've got burnt on this one so many times. Avengers Infinity War start with 3 letters. It's either Jon Favreau or Don Cheadle or Vin Diesel. 2002 Oscar winner. 1989 Oscar winner. Russell Crowe. Lord of the Rings Return of the King. Huh? Alright. So it's not Sean Astin, or it's not Sean Astin. Liv Tyler, Kate Blanchett, Christopher Lee. No, not Carl Urban. Andy Serkis. Not Elijah Wood. Not Ian McKellen. Dang, I don't know. I do not know. I'm thinking this might be wrong. Might be Sean Penn. I still don't know what the name would be. Okay, so it's not Favreau. I think it's Vin Diesel. Still doesn't help. Back to the Future Part 2. Who else is in that? Yeah, I'm thinking I got something else wrong. I don't know who else would be in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, though. Because, like, if it's not Tom Hardy, if it ends with an N, it could be like Helen something. The only Helen I can think of off the top of my head is Helen Hunt, and that doesn't fit because it's only 4 letters. So let's see. Yeah, I'm very confident with Liv Tyler there. 10 Things I Hate About You, I'm very confident with. Alright, we're 2 minutes and I'm stuck. I am cheating. Nope. Yeah, Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, we knew. Leah Thompson, Elizabeth Shue, Billy Zane. No, it's not going to be. It's going to be Elijah Wood. No? J-A-H. Oh. So we were right with Tom Hardy. at the end of our clock. Alright. So we were actually right with Brad Pitt and right with Tom Hardy. Did not know Elijah Wood was in Back to the Future Part 2. All the ones we guessed we got right. It was Sean Bean for Lord of the Rings. That's... I don't like that, because he died in the first one, and I think he was only a voice for Return of the King, which kind of called bullshit on, but whatever. Dustin Hoffman and Denzel Washington for our 2 Oscar winners. So, we got it. We had to get a little help, but we got there. Yeah, I did not know Elijah Wood was in there. I probably should have gotten it when we had ILLEM. When we had Brad Pitt in there first before I switched it to Sean Penn. And I had Tom Hardy there. But, oh well. We survived. Somehow. Because we got a little help. Alright. On to writing. Hopefully. So, when we left off last time, Margaret and Helene had kind of a big blowout argument following the big action sequence, because Margaret was trying to help, but she kind of made things a lot worse. And Helene blames her for, yeah, some of the witches who didn't survive, so... Margaret ends up leaving on a train, and as she's on the train, she catches her reflection and remembers how she changed her face before, so she decides to do that again to give herself kind of a fresh start. Mariners, hi, hello, how you doing? You got the streaming account up. Almost didn't recognize you. It's going to be your only account from now on. Yeah, it probably is easier. But it probably is good to have a backup account just in case. Okay, so where we're picking up this week is we're jumping ahead in time to the 1960s. Didn't mean to actually switch that. Lost all your points, VIP, and mods. Oh, here. Everyone just went live at the same time. Cellar Dweller's now on, Levington's now on, and Liv's on. Only Levington was streaming last time. Or when I checked before I started. No, it's under community. Mariners underscore writing. There you are. You're going to be the 30th VIP. There you go. You got your VIP back. Yeah, I went to go add someone a couple weeks ago, and I was like, since when have I had 30 slots? So I was like, all right, everyone's getting a VIP. So I started off with like everyone who streams that stops by, and then I started adding the regulars as well. So all the OGs before Hollywood, yeah. All right, got that fixed up. All right, so now we gotta think about how are we picking up with Helene. So we have that she's in San Francisco in the 1960s. Dianic Witches still have their outpost there. And I think we can continue to have Emiko and Calixta there as well. And then she has a vision of Bryn. Okay, so this is going to be about 70 years after we last saw her. So what would have happened in the story world during that time? She's made it clear her kind of only goal is to fight the hunters. So she'd be going after them every chance she got. So I'm thinking San Francisco has become kind of a haven for witches at this point. Yeah. Okay, so she feels like San Francisco is more or less safe, and the hunters aren't as imminent of a threat. The question that Margaret asked her way back when about what happens after, I think that question might start creeping into her mind again. Yeah. So let's get this location right. Not history. Established in 1900. Okay, yeah, that's... So it exists in the 60s. That's kind of what we need to know. Major's here! Hi, Major. Hello. How are you today? How's your weekend going? saw a fight in a fish shop one time. Sigh. Good, weekend's been good. Weekend has been alright. It's kind of, I feel like I say the same thing every time, but it feels like the weekend just go by so fast. I don't get nearly as much done as I want to. Alright, so we're gonna just say pier. San Francisco Bay. Right. In Mariner, I regret my life decisions. Major. Sorry, I was reading Mariner's name again. I need to stop reading stuff when I'm trying to talk. Mariners, before Major got here, Mariner said he's only using the Mariners writing account, so you don't need to remember his alt account's name when you do the shout out from now on. That is what I was going to say. Didn't need help remembering. Yeah. Yeah, I think just the first couple times you weren't certain if it had like the underscore in the middle or not, but yeah, I think for a while you've been on top of it, but one less thing to remember. Alright, and then I actually want to look back at the last... would have been post that. The last big time jump we had. Okay, it would have been after that. After that. After that. Okay. So we just put the date. And kind of describe it. Okay. (1960s). Feel like we always use bustling. What's another word? Skyscrape ERS. Lean across the street of the vibrant city, now full of skyscrapers and cars. Okay, so let's redo this. Lane crosses the street. Street congested. What am I? G, not J. It's okay. They look similar. It's fine. Congested with cars. Lean across the street congested with cars. No bueno indeed. Alright, 1960s. Lean crosses the street, congested with cars, to the wooden pier reaching out over the water. Illuminated skyscrapers fill the vibrant city. Now, what's a better word for fill? I guess make up. To make or be part of a whole. Played through one of the most beautiful cinematic games today, mixtape. Had me all misty-eyed. Aw. Nice. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I have not heard of that one though. Alright, I think that's better. 1960s, fleeing across the street, congested with cars, so it wouldn't appear. Reaching out over the water, illuminated skyscrapers comprise the booming, vibrant city. It's basically an interactive movie, 3 hours playtime. Nice. Yeah, the streamer I follow played a couple of like interactive. They were seemed like interactive TV shows or interactive whatever. Um, there were parts that were interesting, but I don't know they are really for me because I like movies. I like someone to have a singular idea of a story and tell me that story, not make me have to tell the story. So I'm just leaving myself a note because we are jumping ahead quite a bit in time here, and obviously Helene's going to be wearing different clothing than she did previously. Everyone will be. But I don't feel like looking into 60s clothing at the moment, so I'll leave a note. We'll go back, make sure each time we jump ahead that we have um, proper clothing for the era described for our characters. So, in my head, I already see her in 60s outfit, but we need to be explicit in the text that she's in 60s attire. So, we'll do that some other time. E. Remnants. What? No. Oh, it's R-E. A. Oh, fuck. I suck at spelling. It's fine. Water. She notices in the water. Remnants of the dock. Destroyed decades ago. Then she notices in the water. Remnants of the dock destroyed decades ago. Too many periods. Only three. We only need three for an ellipses. Hmm. Hotels, Las Vegas, 1960s. Alright, let's figure out what hotel we want Bryn to be in charge of. Alright, do we want the Desert Inn or the Stardust? I feel like those are the two that fit best. Stardust? Stardust chilling yelled it from the back. Alright. Okay. So I decided to have the conversation not at the Dianic Witch hideout, but somewhere else, so we'll get Helene to go back to the Dianic Witch hideout. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to look ahead in the outline because I was wondering if we could cut back and forth between what Helene is doing and what Margaret's doing, but I guess we kind of could. But when Serafina and Letitia show up, it's because they lost track of Helene. So that would be after she's gone to confront Bryn. But we could have... We could show a bit of Margaret with Nayeli. No. Because if we do, it'll seem like she gave up way too quickly. Because even though we have the time jump, the amount of time on screen doesn't match that, so... Yeah, I think we keep it the way it is. Okay. Now the question I have is, how does Helene figure out what the Stardust is? Because for 1960s, obviously they don't have the internet to just, like, look it up. They wouldn't have AI at that time either. I mean, the most straightforward thing I can think of is, like, she's walking back to the Dianic Witch's um, hideout, outpost, whatever. And like she walks past a storefront that has TVs in it, and they have a commercial advertising the Stardust Hotel. Do feel like that's a bit cliche though. Okay. No, we need to call it something different. What did we call it? No, don't highlight the fucking thing. That. We called it their workspace. Okay, so what would the hideout look like in the 60s? Okay. Change. to go over in one's head. Um... So... Las Vegas was officially founded in 1905. Okay, when was Las Vegas Strip? Early 1930s. Alright, oh. We are well over an hour into the stream already. Alright, I'm going to take a quick break, throw up words on stream, and yeah, I'll be right back. Hopefully we can figure something out on how she figures out what the hell Stardust is. Um, but that's a when I get back problem. Words on stream, letters, you write the words in chat, they pop up on the thing. Mookie, hi, hello. You made it just in time for words on stream. I'm gonna take a quick break and then I will be back and we will pick up the writing. Be good, have fun. 3, 2, 1, start. Geez, well done, team. We just lurking and comes in here and carries the whole team with the gold first place. Well done. Mariners, putting in some work, and Mookie, thanks for stopping by. Well done, team. Yeah, I helped with one word in the first round. Alright, let us try to get back to figuring out some writing stuff. So I still don't have a great idea for how Helene figures out what Stardust is. Um, Thank you here for emotional support. Just unsure if I'm receiving your. Fair enough, Weeds. Well, I appreciate you being here either way. So, what I'm thinking is in the previous segment, we had Margaret walk by the newsstand, and that's when she sees the photo that had Helene in it, and that led her to San Francisco. So, in the 1960s, I feel like television would be the updated version of that. Maybe she doesn't walk by it on her way home, maybe it's just playing in the other room. Stardust is the rig name of WWE professional wrestler Cody Rhodes. Does that help? No, I don't think Cody Rhodes was alive in the 1960s, so no. Isn't Cody Rhodes the guy who's playing Guile in the new Street Fighter? Wrestling nerds. Now 50 will know what AEW is. I have heard of AEW. Like I said, I stopped watching wrestling like around high school. So, yeah. I have not been following it for the last 20 plus years. Alright. We'll write a version of this and then we can always come back later and change it, because we just need to write stuff. I switched to WWE for Danhausen. This is how long ago, this is how old I am. When I was watching wrestling, it was still the WWF. They changed it around when I stopped watching. 50,000 is a Fanhausen. I don't know what any of those words mean. Very good, very evil. I understand what all those words mean, but I'm maybe more confused now than I was before. Just write it. We'll fix it. Exactly. Oh no, Mariners. It would take a lot to drive me insane. Like supporting. Glad I'm not a Cleveland Browns fan. But hey, I mean, off season's the best time of year for Cleveland Brown fans because like this is the only time they have hope. I've heard they are bad. You have heard correctly. No games, happy fan. Exactly. Exactly, yeah. They can't lose if they're not playing. Someone who lives out of Pittsburgh, I'm forced into being. Oh. Nah. I was gonna say something nice about Steelers. I can't do it. Sorry. Is what a W, Mariners? No. Steelers are not a W. And I was gonna give you some bits. Good thing I. Sorry, I just can't with the Steelers. Can't do it. Uh. Nope. Can't do it. Sorry. They are. Mm, you saw them beat Tom Brady. You could say they used to be. They scored 2 home runs in 5 minutes. Then one with a 3-pointer. I have no idea, Mariners. Um, Kevin Durant isn't their QB. No, their QB is older than Kevin Durant, though. All right. Yeah, I don't know why, but in the middle of everything, I decided to write an awkward sex joke scene. Just because we needed something. Um, oh, you missed it? Um, so we have Emiko and Helene talking, and the workspace of the Dynamic Witch Outpost. They hear the front door open, and they look over to find Clicks enter, and walks in and is like, "Oh, you two are still going at it?" And then taking it back, Helene looks to Clicks questioning, and Clicks clarifies, "You're still working?" And then Helene's like, "Oh, yeah, right." I don't know. Probably gonna take all that out in a later draft, but I don't know. I wanted something a little different. But I definitely want Different and lighter. Yeah, I want kind of like... I feel like a lot of storytelling and a lot of writing, movies especially, is going from like high, very intense action moments, but then also having, you know, quiet, lighter moments. And right now we're in kind of a quiet, lighter moment, but we're going to be building up to more intense stuff. So, like, having kind of a dumb joke in the middle of it, like, I don't know. I feel like it kind of works. But I do want Emiko and Helene to be together in the 1960s segment, because then hopefully it should click with people. That's why Emiko was not a fan of Margaret in the previous era. All right. Ooh. All right. We're gonna try something. I don't know if this is gonna work. We'll go with it. We'll fix it in post. Okay, so let's say Helene opens the door from door and steps out. I cannot write and talk. Bad at that. Helene opens the door and steps out of her bedroom to find. No, we need something before that. This is like creeping in from. Is the idea a new scene? Do you have notes on what each scene is supposed to be, or more of a vague idea, and you work out the details as you go? Kind of both. When we were outlining, there were certain scenes that, like, I had a very clear vision of what they would be, so, like, I would outline them more specifically. But especially later on, a lot of the stuff was kind of vague and less specific. So stuff like this, none of this was in the outline. It was just uh, Bryn shows up, and then Helene goes after her. But then actually writing it in what the conversation between the characters was, it left it with a question of, all right, she says, "Come, you want answers? Come find me at the Stardust." What the hell is a Stardust? And so now I put myself in a spot where we need to have Helene figure out what the Stardust is. So now I'm completely off page with the outline until I get to kind of the next entry, which is once Helene figures out what the Stardust is, and she's going to go confront Bryn, and she puts another witch, which is going to be Emiko, in charge, and then she leaves. And then we'll pick up with the outline and get to what we put there. But yeah, I mean, just sometimes as I'm writing, I won't know exactly what's coming next, so I have to kind of figure it out, but I know where I need to get to at the end of the sequence. And so that's kind of where we're at with this. All right. Okay, so you're filling a gap that was created naturally. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. Oops, that is not what I meant to do. And she does not stare, she stirs. disoriented? Disoriented, not disorientated. No, we're not doing that yet. Alright, so what I'm thinking is trying to make this kind of creepy. Um, like the TV's possessed. So I feel like as she's starting to walk down the hall, the static from the TV is going to turn into a broadcast of something that sounds like it's speaking directly to her. But I just have to kind of figure out what that would be. I'm gonna have to do research to figure out exactly what I would want it to be. So it's going to have the picture as well, but right now she's in the corridor, not yet in the living room, so she's going to hear what's coming through the television before she sees it. So the first thing she's going to hear is I'd have to look up what the dialogue from what movie I would want to use would be, but I'm just going to write roughly what I want it to be, and then I can find something specific later. But yeah, she hears it first. Right now she sees kind of like the glow of the TV. She doesn't see the actual screen yet. Okay, so we'll say down the hall, illuminated by the glow of the television. What was on the TV, or does it turn on by itself? So she wakes up and she hears static coming from the television. Because, like, at this time in the past, once you got past a certain time, a lot of networks would go completely off the air and there would be nothing, it'd just be static. And so when she hears the static, she assumes that the television's been left on, so she's just gonna go turn it off. But when she steps into the hallway, she hears something coming through the TV, and so that's going to kind of catch her off guard. Static or that test pad? Yeah. Tia, TV off screen. No, I don't think she's going to answer back. I think she's going to think someone is might be watching TV. But that's why she kind of like hesitates for a minute. How do I want to say this? Oh, no worries, Mookie. Yeah, I don't know either. That's why, like, whenever I'm writing Helene-centric scenes, I always, like, copy a version of her name and just paste it in. Because, yeah, I don't know how to do the accents either. Okay. So we are over 2 hours. Okay. I think we might call it here and pick up with this sequence next time. So let us see. I have a feeling our word count isn't going to be... Oh, wow, that's more than I thought. Almost up to 700 words tonight, so we made progress. Yeah, it's definitely some good progress. Let me see who is streaming, and we'll find someone to raid over to. So we have Trallion doing some art, and Cellar Dweller watching a public domain movie? Or playing a game? I don't know. Or we can raid over to someone new. I don't know who this is. Yeah, we'll go over, see what Trallion's up to, working on some art. Good night, Major. Oh, thank you. I was just about to do that. Yeah, we got the raid messages. The first one for subscribers, second one for followers. Yeah, thank you everyone. Stopped by, hung out, lurked, chatted, all the stuff, all the things. I appreciate you all. Hope you all have a good start to your week, and I will be back on Tuesday, hopefully. And we'll pick up where we left off. And yeah, I think that's everything. Major, sending you all the good luck and good vibes. I got a good feeling you'll hear something this week. I hope so. You deserve it, because you the best. Yeah, that's all I got. See y'all next time.
Thanks for checking out my channel. Do whatever you want. Live your life. I hope you're happy in your body. Much love to you. And see you around.